Welcome to episode 5 of Two Guys, One Sport. My name is Chris.
I'm George. Hi, everybody.
It's another off-schedule broadcast for us this week. It's Wednesday instead of Saturday, but this is not going to be a regular thing. We're trying. We're really trying.
No, we really are. It's just that little thing called life gets in the way.
Yeah, unfortunately, outside circumstances do happen, but
Yeah.
we give our 99% sure promise that next week we'll be back on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, it'll be on a Saturday for sure. I mean, it may not be at the same normal time, but it will definitely be on Saturday.
Yeah.
And
All
by
right.
the way, not Saturday 4 days from now. Saturday 11 days from now.
Yeah, that would be Saturday the 15th, not Saturday.
Taxes.
Yeah.
Taxes due that day. So hint, hint. If you haven't done them yet, I think I've already sent my return. But I'm just, public service announcement. Public service announcements. Get your taxes done before you listen to us talk to Graps again.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to us while you're getting your taxes done, that's probably not the greatest plan. But hey, whatever floats your boat.
Exactly.
So we just got out of WrestleMania weekend. Actually, officially the WrestleMania celebration period, I guess if you want to call it, officially ended a little less than an hour ago with the conclusion of NXT Wednesday night broadcast. And we are now officially beginning the new season of WWE, if you really want to call it that. So we're going to be recapping the significant events of TakeOver Orlando, WrestleMania 33, Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live, and NXT. And really just trying to touch on some of the major happenings because we don't want to have another 2 or 3 hour show covering.
No. Our goal. This is going to be the Matt. This is going to be the Matt Riddle of podcasts.
Yeah.
Short and quick and awesome.
Yeah.
This is not going to be the Bobby Roode of podcasts, long and slow and less awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Where only the entrance is good.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So, as always, we start off with our matches of the week. And, George, you can go first this week.
Well, given the conclusion of WrestleMania, the ultimate thrill ride.
God, the worst tagline ever.
It's brutally bad. Given the conclusion of that, I wanted to call back to in my estimation, the best match in the history of the company. Not my favorite. My favorite I'm going to save for a later episode. I don't want to tease it out, as they say in radio. Not my favorite match in the history of the company. Although one of the matches from this WrestleMania is rapidly climbing the list of my favorite matches, but we'll get there. But the best match. And in my estimate, if someone says, George, what's the best match the WWE has ever done? I'm going to say the very first Hell in a Cell between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. First of all, a little background. Brian Pillman had just died, apparently like the day of or the day before. And according to the Observer, I was reading an old Observer, he was supposed to go 30 minutes with Dude Love and Goldust in a triple threat, which sounds awesome.
Yeah.
First of all, which sounds awesome.
For that time period, certainly.
Yeah, that would have been great because Mick Foley could still, walk in a straight line, and Goldust has always been a serviceable hand at worst when he's not weighing 300 pounds.
Yeah.
But they called an audible on the fly. The show was pretty bad. Had a dark cloud. And then these two put on a 30-minute clinic. Maybe one of the best cage matches of all time. Michaels did everything. He bumped like a madman. And we got Kane. The debut of Kane. And we got Blonde Perm Paul Bearer. This match rocked. It had the spot with Michaels jumping off the top of the cage, falling through a table. You had blood. You had Taker throwing him around, ragdolling. You really look at Michaels and you say, man, this guy was awesome before he blew his back out. And he was. And this was before he got into the whole I'm going to overact and sell stuff that some people have criticized him for. This was just Shawn Michaels, the best in-ring worker on the planet, saying, you know what? I got this. And he had a great match, and Taker was a great match. And one of the reasons I like this match is because we were starting to leave Undertaker's zombie mortician with the big gardening gloves behind. Remember that phase?
Yeah.
Where he did nothing but throat chops and tombstones?
Yeah.
And Undertaker broke out moves. He broke out the snake eyes, the big boots, the old school rope walk, the leg drop on the apron, all the stuff that are the beats and cadences of an Undertaker match.
Mm-hmm.
And when we get to the match tonight, or at WrestleMania, excuse me, you see it's the same guy, but it's not really the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the best match the WWE has ever done, in my estimation. And I cannot recommend it enough. It is off Bad Blood. In Your House, Bad Blood. Under the Network, go to the In Your House collection, and it's BADD, because we got to be edgy.
Yeah.
Blood. Early October of 1997. I was 12, almost 13, watching my neighbor's house, because my neighbor got all the pay-per-views. And we were just in awe of how sensational these two were. And that's my match of the week. And Godspeed, Taker. I'll have more for you later, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of shout out that you were half of the best match in the history of the company.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to actually go once again with something that happened fairly recently. Actually from WrestleMania weekend, but not a WWE match. This is coming from Shimmer 91. Shimmer's event that happened this past weekend down in Orlando. A match that was mixed overall up until we get to the match that is my match of the week, which is Nicole Matthews versus Shotzi Blackheart. Nicole Matthews, for those of you who don't know, is one of the longest tenured performers in Shimmer. She's actually referred to as the Shimmer Taker because she's been with the company for so long. She's basically the established veteran presence that can go anywhere on the card and always be great, no matter what. No matter what she is. And Shotzi Blackheart is a young up-and-comer. She has worked with a number of different promotions around the country. She is most notable for her vivid neon green hair and very exceptionally incredible moveset for someone as young as her. And these two put on the archetypal match of the plucky babyface newcomer fighting the overconfident veteran that was taking the babyface not seriously enough. And they put on a hell of a match. Let me just say, Nicole Matthews is still one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. Puts on a very good match, no matter who her opponent is. And Blackheart, like I said, great moveset for someone so young, very fast in the ring. And a lot of this match was especially helped by crowd interactions, specifically with a young girl in the front row who was antagonizing the heels the entire show. The people live blogging the match on Twitter and on Cage Side Seats were referring to her as Indie Izzy. Izzy being the young girl who attends all of the NXT tapes.
Indie, I like it.
Yeah, this was not Izzy. This is Indie Izzy.
Nice.
And she was just getting in the face of the heels the whole match.
Good, man. Good.
Yeah, and Matthews was like engaging with her and messing with her during the match too. One of the biggest ones was she got right in Matthews' face while they were outside, and Matthews was taking chops from Blackheart on the guardrail that separates the ring area from the crowd. And then when Matthews did finally hit the brainbuster, or actually no, she didn't win with the brainbuster. She hit the brainbuster, and Blackheart kicked out of the brainbuster, which is a feat in and of itself because not many people kick out of Nicole Matthews' brainbuster. But Matthews won with the Vancouver maneuver, and after she hit it, she looked right at Indie Izzy and counted off the 1, 2, 3 on her fingers to the little girl. While
like what Nakamura does when he sticks his hand in the air when he hooks the leg.
Yeah, but she was looking right at this girl like the whole time.
I love wrestling.
Such good healing.
Even when I hate wrestling, I love wrestling.
Yeah, like this was great healing on the part of Nicole Matthews, helped especially also by her former tag team partner, the now retired Portia Perez, on commentary, just calling every single one of her moves in, like as a classic heel commentator would, just egging her on the whole time and constantly putting down Blackheart the whole match. Great fun women's wrestling match. I definitely see great things on the horizon for Shotzi Blackheart and Nicole Matthews. As long as she continues to wrestle, she's going to be a gem no matter what. So great match. If you whenever Shimmer decides to get around to releasing this on DVD, they say that they're going to be up to speed on their DVDs by June. I'll believe it when I see it. But
June 2018.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, when Shimmer 91 does come out on DVD, this would be the match I would recommend that you check out if you choose to partake in that DVD as a purchase. So, now that we've gotten through those, let's move on to just a quick recap of NXT TakeOver Orlando, where both George and I went 3 for 5 on our predictions for the match results for the night. We both wrongly predicted that Team Dillinger would defeat Sanity. Well, not the case. Sanity wound up winning the match.
And I explicitly remember saying the one thing they can't do is tread water, and, well, what's the one thing they did?
Mm-hmm.
Treaded water.
Not even the late addition of Cassius Ohno to this match, who replaced No Way Jose, who was injured, quote-unquote injured, after being attacked by Sanity during a WrestleMania Access match earlier in the day. Cassius Ohno joined Team Dillinger in Jose's place.
We went off on him for his attire on NXT against Bobby Roode. Ohno looked much better tonight.
Yes.
The non-tucked-in Sacramento Kings jersey. By the way, you're in Orlando. We're the retro throwback Magic with the black color and the white pinstripes. Am I asking for too much here?
Well, I mean, Enzo did that, so I guess they probably couldn't.
I don't care.
They couldn't have matching jerseys.
It doesn't matter. One's on Raw and one's on TakeOver. It doesn't matter.
That
is so great. But we gave him shit, or at least I gave him shit for looking like a stuffed sausage.
I gave him shit too. Yeah, it was terrible.
I don't remember if it was on the podcast or if it was just in general. Yeah. You know what? Between the jersey fitting him a little better, and he is starting to lose weight.
Yeah.
So you notice that he's starting to slim down a little, which is not easy, and I will give the man props for that, trying to. And I think if all he does at NXT is cash a paycheck and drop 50 pounds, it'll be a job well done for him.
Yeah.
You picture what he'll look like when he isn't, as big as he is, but still big enough to get his moves across.
Oh,
and his stamina is even better. Like he's already one of the 10 best wrestlers in the world. Imagine what happens when he slims down 30 pounds.
I mean, we've already seen how that's worked for Luke Harper, who's also slimmed down and has gotten
Eric
even
Rowan
better.
Was Tuesday nights. Did you see him?
Oh, we'll get to that. All
right. So in this match, I mean, whatever. Like Nikki Cross is my spirit animal, and the last thing I see when I close my eyes at night is Nikki Cross, and the first thing I see when I wake up is Nikki Cross. So she is just. I love short. I have a thing for short, crazy brunettes. So she fits the T perfectly.
Yep. All right.
This match was nothing. It was fun. No, I should say nothing. It was a fun tag match. It was a fun sprint tag match. There's nothing wrong with it. The wrong team won, but I mean, NXT's got weird problems right now that everyone holding the belt is the heel, and the group they're building up the chase is the heels.
Yeah. And also, what was the other thing I was going to say about this? Also the fact that there's probably not going to be any chance for payoff on this now that Ty Dillinger has been promoted to the main roster.
Now who's going to job in the opening match every TakeOver now that Ty Dillinger's gone?
Yeah, well, that's other than that though, it was a good match. Next we're going to get to my penalty number 1. I'm going to keep a running tally of penalties against Smarks. Sure. This is penalty number 1. Aleister Black versus Andrade Cien Almas, where the crowd was basically completely disengaged for the entire match up until the end. Which I'm not really very happy about because Almas he's been a revelation. Coming into his own with character.
Almas is incredible.
And Black put on a fucking amazing debut match. He looked great.
I don't watch Progress, which I'm going to rectify. Believe me.
Yeah.
I watch very little Evolve long story short, this is my first time seeing Tommy N / Aleister Black.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's awesome.
Yeah.
He is, between the vampire entrance and the ink and the moveset and the kicks and this
The
guy
music.
is great.
The
and
fucking music. Oh my
This
God.
guy rocks, and I almost gave him a shitload. Props to both you guys for this match. Perfect match, 10 minutes long. Right guy won. The right guy won. Both guys look good. This was a fun match.
And I wish
Good
the
little
crowd had
showcase.
not been assholes about it.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You seem to take that stuff so personally. I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, you know, I just it wouldn't have been as bad if it hadn't just been a running theme for the whole weekend, but you know, that's why I'm keeping it tally.
WWE's brought this on themselves at this point.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right, next we get to what I consider to be the best match of the weekend from WWE, the tag team elimination match, Authors of Pain versus DIY versus the Revival.
I loved the first 3 quarters of this match. I hated with the burning passion the final quarter.
Why?
Because the Authors of Pain were booked stronger than 2014 Brock Lesnar. They ate everything 4 men could throw at them. It didn't faze them. They had double submissions on one of them, and the other one just no-sold a table shot to break up the submission. We had the DIY knees with the little crossover action was so great, by the way.
Yeah, that was awesome.
DIY knees and the tandem shatter machine, no sell. No sell, no sell, no sell. Remember how Brock no-sold everything in the 2015 Royal Rumble triple threat and then came back and won the match clean?
I wouldn't say no-sold everything.
Only with guys who aren't as talented nor as charismatic as Brock Lesnar is.
I mean, I don't know if he no-sold everything. He did
stop these guys.
He did spend 10 minutes on the outside stuck through a table in that match, but you know, I mean, and here's the thing. I have less of a problem with that because, you know, and this is my continual theme on trying to keep some degree of realism in wrestling. You're not going to tell me that even 4 guys that are the size of DIY and the Revival are going to be able to hold down the Authors of Pain for long. I'm just not going to believe you. 2 guys that are outweighing both of the opposing teams by over 150 pounds, and in the case of DIY, 200 pounds.
That's how wrestling works, though. You have established DIY and Revival as monster threats. And there's no better tag team in the world at working together to take down a big guy than the Revival. You've spent 1.5 years establishing the Revival as the aces of your division.
Yeah, but what big guys have they taken down? I mean, aside from Cass, let's see, Enzo and Cass, American Alpha, the Vaudevillains, and DIY. All teams that, aside from Cass and to a lesser degree Jason Jordan, are pretty average size, ranging closer to the small size than anything. So, where does
AOP go from here after ethering this division? Yes, the Revival got promoted, and deservedly so.
Yeah.
But we've already seen DIY versus Authors of Pain. Heavy Machinery is nowhere near ready. The Ely brothers are nowhere near ready. Are we getting the Chris Hero, Roddy Strong team?
Sanity. We're getting
heel versus heel?
I don't think that they're going to stay heel. This is the thing. And, you know, I think that we're going to see AOP squash matches until we get to TakeOver Chicago in May.
Which I'll be at.
Yep.
Doing the triple header, Evolve, TakeOver, pay-per-view.
That's going to be awesome.
My mom lives 10 minutes from the Allstate, so I could just kind of hang out with her all weekend and use her car to drive from place to place. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go on.
Yeah. So I think we're going to get AOP squash matches and maybe a nothing title match at TakeOver Chicago. And I expect that between now and TakeOver Chicago, we're going to see a slow turn of sanity to where Eric Young is getting kicked out in favor of Aleister Black as the leader of Sanity.
Because we've discussed this ad nauseum. Eric Young is the worst part of his own sale by a mile.
Yeah. So I think that's where we're headed. And I think that with Aleister Black as the leader of Sanity, they turn face and they face AOP for the titles.
Okay.
At TakeOver Brooklyn.
I can do that.
which would be awesome if I do say so myself.
But then you are removing your mid and lower card heels and making them faces. So who kind of steps in on the heel side to replace them?
Well, let's see. I mean, the Ely brothers, they could very easily start working their way up. Looking over some of the other teams that we have out there, I mean, they could easily bring in Tino Sabatelli and Riddick Moss as another heel team because they, despite being less than average workers, they do work as a heel team. Heavy Machinery coming up as a face team, obviously, they work very well.
Yeah.
I mean, they can always just bring in the Bollywood boys from the cruiserweights to work as a tag team. They've done that on a number of occasions, and it works out all right.
The problem with NXT is all of the big ticket guys will always be faces to start. Drew McIntyre is not getting heel heat right away in his first program.
No, not a chance.
Not Cassius Ohno is not getting heel heat in his first program.
Mm-hmm.
And those guys are excellent heels on the Indies. But because of biased Paul Hale, and the way NXT works in their own little universe, it is, I am bringing these elite indie stars to you. You will then cheer them until proven otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So we have if you turn Sanity right now, we have a void in the lower and mid card heel ranks.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is we have a glut of heels on the roster if you keep Sanity. So unless you break them up, which I think it's far too soon for, we're you either have all of one or all of the other.
Mm-hmm.
So Authors of Pain, what do you think is happening with them? After they killed the division dead.
Like I said, I think that we're just going to see some squash matches, maybe a nothing title match at TakeOver, and then we're going to start to see them feuding with the teams that have been given the time to establish themselves a little bit. Okay. I think that this is the best way to give them the opportunity to develop their characters further to the point where they can then move ahead with getting rid of Ellering, like we talked about last week. So,
agreed on that point. Let's talk about the Revival real quick, because I'd rather just kind of do this piecemeal than just do show by show recaps.
Yeah.
My dad watches 2 professional wrestling programs in a given week. He watches Monday Night Raw, assuming there's not anything else on sports-wise. He'll flip back and forth between ESPN and Raw, or the Cubs and Raw, or the Bears and Raw, whatever,
Yeah.
And he watches New Japan and Access Friday nights, because I'm not quite sure why, but he does, as we've discussed. My dad does not watch SmackDown. Very rarely will he watch SmackDown. He's usually out on Tuesdays.
Okay.
Very rarely will he does not watch anything on the network. He does not watch pay-per-views, and he does not watch any indies or any, CMLL or any New Japan that is not the Access show.
Yep.
My dad's watching Raw when the Revival come out.
Okay.
My dad texts me and he goes, "Who are these guys?" And I say, "They're from NXT. They're great. You'll love them," because I know what kind of wrestling my dad likes. My dad's been watching wrestling for 40 years.
And with Arn Anderson being his favorite, of course, he's going to love the Revival.
15 minutes later, he goes, "I like these guys," with an exclamation point. I'm like, "I told you." Because the Revival are awesome. The best part of the match was Revival getting the obligatory face pop, and then getting heel heat for breaking Kofi Kingston's leg.
Yep. It was
perfect. Understand how this works.
Yep.
But they props to the New Day for making them look like $1 million.
Oh yeah.
Props to Corey Graves and Michael Cole for making them look like $1 million.
Definitely. It works.
We forget that we are so stuck in our smart bubble, you and I and everyone listening to this, that I watch 20 hours of professional wrestling a week. You watch more probably, but I watch Raw, I watch SmackDown, I watch NXT, I watch CMLL, I watch New Japan on Access, and that doesn't count any of the weekend stuff. Like, I'm going to watch Genesis this weekend. I'm going to watch the pay-per-view when it shows up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people who just watch Raw. Yeah. 3 million people watch Monday Night Raw. A lot of them are like us, but a lot more of them aren't. And they just watch Raw. My dad is one of them. And so props to the New Day, props to Corey Graves, props to Michael Cole. I would say props to Byron Saxton, but he's worse than either. But for taking this new team, the blank canvas, and making them look great. Because
Yeah,
now all the people who just watch Raw say, "Whoa, these guys are the real deal."
definitely. They got the job
Plus,
done.
the Revival are great, so it's hard for them to fail.
Yeah, I mean, we knew going into this that wherever they wound up, whether it was Raw or SmackDown, they were going to be fantastic. There's no doubt.
I am already excited for the Revival and the Hardys. We'll get to.
Mm-hmm.
I am excited for the Revival and Cesaro and Sheamus.
Oh
I am
yeah,
excited for the Revival and the Club. Like all of a sudden, this gives this and the Hardys, which we'll get to, gives this tag team division a much needed
shot in the arm.
in the heart, Uma Thurman style from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, fantastic. Next up, another match that we both got our predictions wrong on: Asuka versus Ember Moon.
I think that was us thinking with our hearts, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I fully expect that this match we're going to see a repeat of this match down the line, either in Chicago or in Brooklyn. You know,
Agreed.
the likelihood being that at that point in time, Ember will take the title off Asuka, and Asuka will go full batshit crazy. But I will say, excellent match from both of them. A little shorter.
Perfect sprint. I don't care. I'm okay with it being 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Ember Moon looked great. Asuka looked great. Everyone looked great.
Yeah.
There's no the ending was fine.
The protection of the eclipse, very well done.
Absolutely. Shades of the main event of the Tokyo Dome, where Omega just couldn't hit the one-winged angel.
Yeah.
So we never know. We have no idea if Okada can kick out of the one-winged angel or not because Omega never hit it. We have no idea if Asuka can kick out of the eclipse because Ember never hit it.
Yeah.
Same story. Which I love. I'm okay with that.
Very, very well executed match. It's still, I still think that the women's division is stagnating a little bit, but
yes,
they're not at the point yet where there's no credibility. There's
potential to freshen it up with a full-blown heel Asuka turn.
And I mean, she has already, become, the same kind of she's like the NXT equivalent of the Nicole Matthews that I was talking about earlier. She's the overconfident veteran who thinks that all of her competition is beneath her. And at this up to this point, that has been proven to be the case. Yeah, Amber gave her the fight of her life, but Asuka still won, albeit
but nobody is ready for Asuka.
Cheating tactics. But yeah, it still works. So you know what? I mean, it's not. It hasn't gotten to the point where she's no selling finishers and just putting everybody into the Asuka lock in 15 seconds. So it's
no. She's not the Japanese Goldberg.
Yeah, thank God for that. Although, spoiler alert, she is rapidly closing in on Goldberg's streak, and that's probably a big factor into why she retained the title, is that they want her to beat Goldberg's streak and to make her that kind of monster, so that whoever does defeat her gets even that much more shine out of it. So, the main event.
Good match. Go on. If you haven't seen it, go see it. This was, in fact, all three of these. We'll get to the main event. Let's talk about the main event. Yeah,
this was probably the only bad match or subpar match on the card for.
I wouldn't go that. I enjoyed this match, but here's the deal with. I enjoy. This was an '80s style match. I enjoyed this match. Was this match too long? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's be yes.
Any Bobby Roode match that goes for 28 minutes has already gone 10 minutes too long.
Was it too long? Yes. Did I understand what they were going for? Yes. Is my favorite wrestler of all time Triple H? Yes. Is Bobby Roode a dollar store version of Triple H? Yes.
100% yes.
Maybe that's why I enjoyed it. I fully accept that. But this was an 80s style match with psychology, work a body part, and Nakamura brought his working shoes. Couldn't have as good a match as they had in San Antonio. Crowd was hot, which helped. The right man won, as we learned on Tuesday night. All praise to the 7 deities for that, which we'll get to. We can move on with our lives. I gave this a solid 3 stars. I enjoyed this match. I can totally understand why people didn't know. This match was what I look for in a wrestling match.
Yeah.
I totally get it if you're more of a sprint fan. I'm not going to begrudge anybody. I'm not going to my grave defending this match. I enjoyed it. I got the story they were trying to tell. The announcers didn't, but whatever. That's neither here nor there.
See, I just I just can't find anything to latch onto in Bobby Roode's wrestling that I can like point out as anything specific that it says, okay, yeah, this is exciting. This is a good thing that I can enjoy watching. Like constantly stopping the match to go glorious and all that crap is just like whatever, man. There's nothing to your wrestling that, you know, screams you know, exceptionally talented to me. I mean, and, you know, that is certainly though a difference in styles as to what you like versus what you don't like. Because, you know, like you said, this is your kind of match. This is not
my kind of match.
This was not my kind of match. But
I fully accept that I am on an island there.
That's all right. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's funny because this was my favorite match of either one of these shows. Was absolutely not my kind of match normally, but we'll get to that. Now, let us never get Bobby Roode and Shinsuke Nakamura ever again. Let us move on with our lives. Let's get Bobby Roode versus anyone else. I don't know, a Tommy or Almas or any placeholder. And let's get Nakamura kicking ass and taking names on the main roster, which lo and behold looks like it happens.
Yeah,
hey, Chris, Shinsuke Nakamura's on Smackdown.
How
awesome was that entrance? They made him look like $1 billion. How great is it going to be when he feuds with The Miz, because The Miz can talk enough for both of them? And how great is it going to be when there's a 13-minute match where Nakamura kicks Miz's head off at the end of it?
I can't wait.
How great is it going to be when he does the little hands-up thing to Maurice and she gets all indignant? I am all in on this.
It's going to be fantastic.
My 2 favorite wrestlers in the world are on the same damn show.
Oh, my God.
God willing they keep AJ.
That's going to be fantastic, though.
I don't have to watch Raw anymore.
At least not until after next week, but
yes, at least not until after next week. I can go do Monday Night Dungeons and Dragons at the place downstairs.
Yeah, well, you know, unless AJ winds up on Raw.
Stop talking. Stop talking. I can't hear you. Cue the gif of Charlotte holding Sasha's ears shut. That's me right now. I can't hear you. I'm holding my ears shut from you and your evil thoughts about AJ leaving Blue Brand.
You know, George, denial is not just a river in Egypt.
Oh, it is expressly a river in Egypt right now. In pure denial.
Yeah. I gotta say about this SmackDown debut though. You know, there were a lot of people who were in the live thread saying, wait, that's it? He just comes out, does his entrance, and leaves? Yeah, that's fucking it. That's all you need to do.
That's it. First of all, there's 7 weeks between. Sorry, I'm trying to get my mic right. There we go. There's 7 weeks between this show and the Chicago pay-per-view. You don't need to shoot your wad in the first match.
Yeah.
He comes out this week. Next week is a promo or a little in-ring segment or something. The week after that, he has a squash match against someone who gives a shit.
Kurt Hawkins.
And then we have a nice 4-week build to a feud that culminates in an actual honest-to-God pay-per-view match in late May. You don't need to do all that in once or twice. This isn't Vince Russo. We're running through 2 months worth of programs in 2 weeks. Spread this out a little bit. You have enough energy here where you can get it to the pay-per-view without it feeling tired. Hello? Oh, there we go. There you are. Did you hear me? Oh, we lost Chris.
No, I'm still here.
Oh,
I'm here.
Did you hear that whole speech I had? Because I didn't.
Yes, I did.
Just making sure. I thought that my mic was cutting out. Okay, good. All right, carry on.
No, we're good.
Carry on. Yes, more than enough energy, more than enough in any Nakamura matchup to get us to the pay-per-view without having to get it all done on the first show. This was great. It was an entrance. He looked like $1 million. Next week, you can either do a quick squash, or you can do a little in-ring with the Miz or whomever he's fighting, and we can go off to the races.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about it is that we know Nakamura shows up on Sundays when he has a good opponent. And,
absolutely.
You know, for all the crap I say about the Miz, and I still hate him and wish he was not on TV anymore. He will give Nakamura a good match, and Nakamura Kinshasa-ing his head off will be a very satisfying and vindicating feeling for me.
Someone said this on Cage Side Seats, and again, if you're not a member, you should be.
Yeah.
And this is your friend and mine, Blue and Orange for Life. And I want to give him, he said, welcome aboard the Nakamura isn't a total slacker train. We got T-shirts made.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've always maintained that Nakamura has 3 levels. Level 1, sleepwalking through lower card multi-mans on house shows and lower profile G1 matches.
Mm-hmm.
Level 2, singles matches on B shows. Quote, I'm also a big fan of the La Sombra and Goto matches. And oh my God, we can get La Sombra and Nakamura on Smackdown, Chris. And number 3, the God tier, singles matches in the Dome and higher profile G1 matches. There's this myth about Nakamura that it's either all or nothing. And it's really in phases. That he's either in the Dome Nakamura or he's slacking off Nakamura. And it's really more of a gradual thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I fully expect his first pay-per-view match to be good. For fuck's sake, dude, he had good matches with Bobby Roode. Like, give him a 12-minute sprint against somebody who can hold his own on the pay-per-view, The Miz, preferably.
Yeah, that's a great first feud.
Absolutely, it is. Have him win clean in the middle of the ring with the Kinshasa. Everybody's happy. All right.
And then from there, we can very easily put him into a IC title feud, probably with Baron Corbin.
I don't think you give a guy that entrance and do anything other than put him in the main event. But we'll get to the main event of SmackDown because words will be said about this main event program.
All right, so let's move on now to WrestleMania, and again, we're trying to just cover the highlights. We have a tendency to talk a lot, but we're trying to just cover the highlights.
Our goal is to knock this whole show in about half hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Anything on the pre-show you care about?
You were right, and I was wrong about the Andre. Mojo won.
Tierney was right. Let's give the devil his due. Tierney was right, and I just piggybacked off that.
Yeah. And Rob Gronkowski showed up. Hooray!
The security guard thinking it was a shoot.
That was amazing. That was freaking hilarious.
That was the highlight of WrestleMania. I could have turned it off right there and been happy.
Yeah. Austin Aries lost his cruiserweight title match to Neville, and then immediately reestablished himself as the #1 contender on 205 Live last night.
Good match.
So zippity doo
sure.
It was a good match. Yes.
Good little spot fest to open the show, which is exactly what we want the cruiserweights to do.
And the program is continuing. So all right. Baron
Corbin had a very bad match and a very good match on SmackDown.
Yep, and the SmackDown match we're still not sure. Well, apparently it was announced as being for the title, and then it wasn't for the title, so it's apparently not the title. But
it's not the title. I think Corbin may be going to Raw, to be honest. So
we'll see.
We'll see. I don't know.
If not, you can bet that the next SmackDown pay-per-view is going to have another street fight between the two of them,
or a last man standing or something.
That will be for the title.
Match.
Yep.
Yeah. This match was very bad. Not very bad. This match was bad. The Mania match. The match on SmackDown was quite good. I would recommend you seeing it.
I did like the finish to the Mania match. The flip out of the end of the day, end of days into the Dirty Deeds. That was cool.
The first 10 minutes and 45 seconds were pretty bad, though.
Yeah. But, I mean, the rest of it, not bad. So, on to the main card now. And we start with AJ Styles defeats Shane McMahon in what was definitely the biggest surprise of the night. Not in terms of the result. Everybody knew that AJ Styles was going to beat Shane McMahon. All doubters aside, everybody knew in their heart of hearts that AJ Styles was beating Shane McMahon. But, man, was that match good, or was that match good? Holy crap!
AJ is a goddamn warlock. at this point. Like,
he's a wizard, Harry.
I think I went 3 3/4 on this. He got a 3 3/4 star match out of a middle-aged non-wrestler with bad cardio. Take a second and think about that first. Sit back and think about that for a second.
Hey, Shane McMahon, man.
I'll say this about Shane. He's a shitty professional wrestler, but he tried hard.
He pulled off a shooting star press.
Tried hard. I will say, you know what, Shane? You busted your ass in this match. I will absolutely give him props for that.
He did a shooting star press, wrestler,
but he tried hard and he took bumps and he works. He's just not very good. He's just very limited. But at least he tried hard.
The Shane McMahon shooting star press. I'm going to say it again. I've been saying it. This is like the 4th time I've said it, but I'm going to say it again. The Shane McMahon shooting star press. Like, I know that may not be like the biggest deal, but for a 47-year-old guy who, again, is not a wrestler to do that.
He hit a better shooting star press than 50% of Billy Kidman in WCW shooting star presses.
Yeah. Hell, he hit a better shooting star press than Brock Lesnar's last shooting star press.
Yes, especially because he wasn't hitting it. But here, this is the point, though. This is the point. Every Shane McMahon match is the same. He goes 50-50 with a guy who's clearly better than he does. He slips on a banana peel, misses a big move, and the opponent gets the win. How does AJ look better coming out of this match? Not on SmackDown, where Shane McMahon was dancing in the entryway and AJ was the one who had the soul. If all you saw was SmackDown and you didn't see WrestleMania, and you heard the announcers tongue bathe Shane McMahon, and you heard AJ shake his hand, and you saw Shane McMahon smiling and dancing in the entryway before cutting a promo about how this is all for the fans, and you saw AJ with a small hitch in his step and a black eye walk out, who would you think have won the match? If you didn't see Mania, if all you saw was the 5 minutes on SmackDown, based on everything I just described, the announcers putting him over, him dancing in the entryway during his entrance, and AJ being the one selling and the one showing the effects of the fight, you would say Shane McMahon won this match.
You know, maybe this is why they have half of every show after Mania be recaps, because they don't want people to get the wrong idea, because that could very easily be what would have happened if people had only seen SmackDown. And I agree that would have been terrible.
The Shane dancing thing was what put me over the top. Like, this was very Triple H-ian, where it was, yes, you're going to win, but I'm going to look good in the process. You don't need that Shane. And you don't need that Triple H either, but you definitely don't need that Shane.
Yeah.
That being said, AJ's a goddamn warlock.
But that's why I think like that little segment that they had on SmackDown, with AJ trying to go for the cheap shot afterwards at the end, or faking the cheap shot, that's why I think, you know, what you're in denial about, why I think that's going to happen. But I don't know. We'll see.
So he's going to Raw?
I think he's going to Raw.
We'll see. I mean, he's still owed a one-on-one shot, by the way, which has gone the way of the lockbox in terms of stuff that happens in Shane McMahon WrestleMania programs that is immediately forgotten about.
Yeah.
And Bill Goldberg's, remember he was going to say he had an announcement and then he got cut off by Brock like a month ago and they never brought it up again?
Yeah.
That, the lockbox, and AJ Styles one-on-one match are all just kind of gone into the ether.
Yep.
It was a good match. It was a good opener. I enjoyed it. It was not my favorite match in the show. We'll get to my favorite match in the show. My favorite match in the show was not Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, which was fine.
Yeah, it was a serviceable match. The giant inflatable list of Jericho was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
But not a whole lot needs to be said. Not a whole lot needs to be said about that. Right guy won. And
Bailey, Charlotte, right guy won, or right lady won.
Yeah, we both were wrong in our predictions on this. By the way, I had picked Charlotte, you picked Nia, and Bailey wound up retaining.
Nia looked great. They made it look super strong. But I don't know where she goes after what happened on Monday. I know where Charlotte goes.
Yeah.
Charlotte's going on Team Blue, baby.
Yeah, Charlotte
and Golden Castle's Robe are going to SmackDown.
Yeah. I think that we're going to end up with a Bailey Emma title program for the short term.
Oh, she looks so good.
Emma looked great showing up on Monday Night Raw. Finally back to evil Emma, which was really awesome to see. Been waiting for that for months, almost a year now. We've been
Yeah.
waiting for that.
Yeah.
So good
She
to
looked
see Emma
healthy.
back.
She moved well. I know she had a back issue, right?
Yeah,
And
she almost broke her back.
oh,
Um, like there was actually I think when Emma came back out, Summer Rae sent out a tweet saying that the last time that Emma had been in the ring, prior to her disappearing from TV for all that time, Summer had actually had to help dress her because she literally could not bend over
I remember
to
those days.
get herself dressed.
I dated a girl for a little bit with a couple herniated discs, and I would have to help her like live, and it was horrible. I felt
Yeah.
so terrible for her,
Yeah.
and she wasn't trying to be a professional wrestler.
Yeah, when you have to do that every single day, that's the worst feeling
That can't
ever.
be good at
So,
all.
yeah. So the
So
fact
props
that
to Emma.
Emma's back and in good shape,
This
fantastic.
match felt rushed, but all these matches were rushed a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's okay. They got Nia out of the way early, and then they had a thing.
Yeah. Then they had a triple threat. They had themselves a triple threat.
This match could have used another 4 minutes or so, but if every match that needed more time got more time, we would still be watching WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So
It would almost feel like WrestleMania 32 all over again.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah. So the adding the Macho Man elbow to Bailey's arsenal is it's pretty cool.
That was cool, and she does it better than CM Punk does.
Yeah, and I think that it's good because of all the people who have said that the belly to belly suplex shouldn't be a finisher. So okay, let's bring back somebody's finisher who you can't complain about because it's a classic.
No. Any move can be a finisher if it is protected.
Yes.
Any move. It does, and no matter what the move itself, John Cena's finisher is not technically impressive. It's throwing him on your shoulders and then throwing him over.
Yeah,
there's nothing technically impressive about it, but you know why it's a great finisher? Because it is protected. Mm-hmm. Any move can be a finisher if it is treated with the respect a finisher deserves.
Yeah.
It is.
Although to be fair, there are so few moves that are protected the way that finishers used to be. But you know, that's neither here nor there.
Neither here. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. I don't need. We'll get to the main event, but it should not take 5 spears to win a match.
Yeah. Especially not 5 Roman Reigns spears. But yeah. Oh, we'll get there.
But any move, the fact that the belly to Bailey is the finisher is not the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Any move could be a finisher.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a good fatal 4-way. Then the program's looking good coming out of that.
I jumped up and down so hard, I rolled an ankle.
On to the Raw Tag Team Championship match, yeah.
And props to the New Day for trolling people in their gear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although I don't think that I think half the crowd was not fooled with that.
Still,
but it was a smart move.
Good college try.
Yeah.
For effort.
Yeah, definitely. Good match
this
though.
Match ruled.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Really
the Hardys, you had that ladder match against the Bucks the night before, and then you had this ladder match. And my favorite part was the second Cesaro and Sheamus fell on those ladder bridge on the outside. I was like, oh, I know where this is going. And then you just saw Jeff Hardy moving a giant ladder, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I know
literally the tallest ladder that could be found around the arena.
Yeah.
He took that one.
They're like, my spider sense is going off. And then Jeff Hardy's just like, I have a giant ladder, and I'm moving it over here. And I'm
hey, guys, watch this.
And I'm like, oh, no, Jeff, no.
Like, Jeff Hardy at 39 years old still has no regard for his body.
You could tell his knees just fucked beyond belief.
Yeah. But he still
props
has
to
no
him.
regard
He is
for
a batshit crazy mofo.
Yeah.
I wish these guys were on SmackDown, but I get it. I think they need draws on SmackDown. Now that Cena's gone, we will see if Nakamura can be that draw.
Yeah.
I have my reservations, but still, I think but I get why they're on Raw. There's better matchups for them on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to pitch a bitch. This match was fun. All 8 guys did great. I love the tandem clubbering of the chest with the swing.
Yeah, that was great.
You know what? That reminds me. Sheamus and Cesaro are so good.
They are. I
want them to be. They are the DIY of the full size division. I want them to be the tag team forever. They rock. They have awesome chemistry. They are both slotted perfectly in their roles. They're good TV workers. They show up. They have a 10-minute match. They go about their lives. This is great. I want to go to a Raw house show just to watch these guys because I bet they have great house show matches.
I need a GIF of that entrance with the kilts
Maybe in the sunglasses.
That they officially now are my favorite entrants in WWE because of that.
I've turned 180 degrees on Sheamus.
Yeah. And to think this came out of that ridiculous best of 7 series with the worst ending possible, and we were all like, "What the fuck? This is the worst possible way they could have done this."
I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt. I think a lot of that is these two guys are just so talented and they made it work.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. They made it work.
Yeah.
And it very easily could have ended at any point along the way with them, having a moment where they just couldn't get together on the chemistry and the team just disintegrated. No, creative could have done that at any point along the way.
I'm 100% serious. I want these guys to be the champs for 5 more years.
Yeah.
Freaking rock. I want them to quit WWE and tour the Indies as champs. I want them to be the Rock and Roll Express of this era and just go out and do their moves and go about their moves. These guys kick ass together.
You know that'll never happen just because Sheamus is such good friends with Vince, but still, I mean, it's
they get paid more in WWE.
Yeah, but I mean, even still, this team is a revelation of greatness.
Actually, if we're talking fantasy booking, I want Cesaro to go to New Japan and have the greatest G1 of all time. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, we shoot for 90 minutes. The G1 show is probably going to be like 3 hours, just FYI. Because we'll be breaking down some incredible matches.
Yeah, this year's G1 is going to be ridiculous.
Well, you got some time.
Yeah. All right. Mixed tag. Nikki Bella and John Cena defeated Miz and Maurice.
You know what? Speaking of the Rock and Roll Express, the match itself is irrelevant. But props to let's sit back for a second and say and think about John Cena face in peril.
Yeah.
And Nikki Bella the hot tag, and then it worked.
It worked. This is another moment of.
It was so great.
This is another smart penalty here, though, because any of you who were chanting no at John Cena proposing to Nikki Bella,
it was like
fuck off.
There was like 5 people. Everyone else just was quiet. They had the same 3 women cheering in the background over and over again, and everyone else was quiet. At least on my feed.
I could hear a lot more no's, but still, fuck off. Anyway,
you know what?
It served the purpose it needed to serve, and hooray for John and Nikki.
Two closing thoughts. First of all, 3 closing thoughts. Congratulations to the newly engaged couple.
Yes.
First and foremost, I hope they have many, many years of marital bliss.
Yes.
No sarcasm. I know that may sound sarcastic. I hope they have many years of marital bliss and grow old together.
Yes, definitely.
2, there was a theory going around on the internet, on wrestling Twitter and on the internet, that they had had a private engagement beforehand and this was all for show. You remember this? You know of this theory?
I still subscribe to this theory.
Bullshit. Because neither John nor Nikki are good enough of actors to have that anything but the first run. You think Nikki Bella was faking that?
I don't know. Her reactions.
The hitch in his voice. That was pure shoot. The hitch in his voice, the way her face melted, and the way he told that story. Great story, by the way. Great story. Like that was the first time they did it.
I don't know.
Neither one of them are good enough of actors to have pulled that off without the genuine emotion.
I feel like Nikki's reactions to everything were just way too subdued for it to have been a shoot, but I could be wrong. I will say that there's always the possibility that this could have been a complete shoot. So if it was, good for them.
I'm leaning towards it being a complete shoot. And my third thought, and I was wrong about this, and I'm glad to admit it. Props to the Miz and Maurice for getting their heat back in 45 seconds the next night or on SmackDown.
I muted it because
it was great.
I still just hate them.
Oh,
but
John.
Yeah.
I have something to tell you. I mean, Maurice in the Valley Girl accent is awesome.
I'm ready for them to stop doing that because
why?
I
so smarky. Just embrace it.
The Smarks are the ones who were cheering for the Miz. I'm the anti-Smark in this because I just really am not.
Then if you're the anti-Smark, then boo the heels like you're supposed to.
I am booing the heels. I'm booing the shit out of the Miz and Maurice because you hate them.
You want them to go away. That's not booing. That's X-Pac heat.
Yes, they are my X-Pac.
Get ready for WWE World Champion The Miz
Uh,
soon.
yeah,
But you know what?
followed by WWE champion Shinsuke Nakamura kicking his
Yes.
head off again, which
Sure.
I'll be perfectly okay with.
Yes. Yes. But you know what? This match was fine. I think the match itself was probably too long. 11 minutes is too long. You could have had this be like 6 minutes.
Yeah, you could have had much. You didn't need to have Miz beat up John for nearly that
you
long.
did not need the extended shine period of John Cena selling over and over and over to the Miz.
Yeah,
Like, props to him for doing it, but this match did not need to be 11 minutes bell to bell.
yeah, and another note.
Or excuse me, 9 minutes bell to bell.
Another note here, Maurice. Talk to Stephanie and learn how to slap people convincingly because your slaps look weak as shit. Jesus Christ. That was
one person. There's one person in the company who is not being complained about for slapping someone in the face hard, and that's Stephanie. Stephanie can shoot slap people. Maurice can't.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, though.
Yeah, it does not look
Maurice and Miz in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles shredder outfits? Yes.
That was amusing. I was amusing.
And Miz claiming that he forced John Cena to get engaged to Nikki Bella he's the worst person in the world. I love him so much. He's so evil. He's so far up his own ass that it's he's coming out his own throat. It's so evil and glorious how much of a pretentious dickbag this guy is.
Let's make a tag team of Bobby Roode and the Miz.
Don't tease.
That's a team that you could have literally anybody in the company lining up to face them in a match, and no matter who they were facing, they'd get cheered because people would just want Miz and Roode to get their faces beaten in that much.
Yeah.
The two of them. Yeah. Good. All right. Onto a match that went way too fucking long. The unsanctioned match between Seth Rollins and Triple H.
Why was this anything other than a 15-minute sprint? Why was this a match?
Because Triple H.
Why?
Yeah. Because Triple H. I don't need to give you any other explanation. I don't need to give you any other explanation because Triple H. Listen, this is the third straight year where Triple H has had third straight year where Triple H has had a ridiculously overlong match at WrestleMania that has served utterly no purpose. Literally none. And this is the second year in a row where the most exciting spot of Triple H's match was the bump that Stephanie took. And if that's the theme of Triple H's WrestleMania career going forward, then please, for the love of God, let's just have these matches be 10 minutes long, 12 minutes long.
This
and get the bump out of the way as quickly as possible.
18 minutes tops.
Yeah.
You know what was the thing with this match? It wasn't bad. It wasn't good.
It really wasn't good.
It was solid. It was well worked. I enjoyed the story. No one else enjoyed the story. There was no heat.
I was not as high on the work rate because Seth Rollins.
I got what they were going for, but
I
understood it, but it was too much of it.
I'm gonna say that this was a match of Seth Rollins watching way too much Kazuchika Okada tape because the inconsistency of the leg selling was like.
How about the next night? He's doing knee strikes with the bad leg.
Yeah, and inconsistent selling again.
Naomi was selling her leg better than you were.
Yeah, seriously.
By miles.
Yeah. Like, Rollins, please. You're better than this. We know you're better than this.
Maybe he's not.
No, because he used to be very good at being consistent on his body part selling. Look at old Shield matches. Specifically the matches against Evolution.
Old Shield matches. We've discussed how Dean Ambrose is a bad wrestler now, and he was great in Old Shield matches.
This is true, yeah.
The only person who's on par with where they were in the Shield is Roman Reigns, and it's because he didn't do anything in Shield matches.
Yeah,
and then he busted his ass and he got better.
Yeah, that's true.
But Seth Dean
Lord.
in terms of in ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. The less of this match, the better.
Yep. Now on to the other bad match on this card.
Holy mother of Christ! What the fuck was this match?
Bray Wyatt and his projector ring versus Randy Orton.
This is my leader in the clubhouse for worst match of 2017. And
right now, yeah.
lot to knock this one off the throne.
Yeah.
Holy Jesus. I
Yeah.
mean, part of me thinks this was a ploy to make the red belt more prestigious by burying the WWE belt so badly it will never recover.
That might be the case.
We beat AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble and gave the belt to John Cena for 2 weeks for this shit.
Yeah.
And what the fuck, dude?
And more importantly, this was also the worst possible payoff to what had been, up to that point, the best fucking story in the entire company.
It started
Hands
to run out
down.
of steam a little bit towards the end, but yes.
Well,
Like,
the only reason why it was
the
running
thing,
out of steam towards the end was because they took the main heat maker in the story in Luke Harper out of the picture.
Yeah, and they added in arson and crucifixes or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, that was awful.
This match was just
awful.
Here's the deal. This is the WWE Championship.
Mm-hmm.
This is the belt of Bruno Sammartino and Superstar Billy Graham and Bob Backlund and Hogan and Savage and Warrior and Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin and Mick Foley and The Rock and John Cena and AJ Styles and all the rest of the greats who have passed through this business. And this was the shit you did with it.
Yeah.
You know what? You both, Orton and Wyatt, should be embarrassed.
Yeah.
That you put this on. That you said this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
I can't get over how horrible. Like, they should have booked AJ to do a run-in right then and just pin Orton and get the belt back or something.
Whoever thought that...
Everybody, who thought this was a good idea?
Yeah, and whoever thought the projector ring was going to get this match over,
that
fire that person.
If Bray Wyatt has powers to get an 8th grade science gift.
Yeah, seriously. This is... I'm
done. I'm done with Bray Wyatt after this. I'm done. I have no interest in him whatsoever.
I will say.
Go on.
When Eric Rowan showed up on Smackdown at the opening segment with the fucking most awesome sheet mask he's had in his entire career, that was fucking amazing. I was so happy because Rowan is somebody who I think is ridiculously underutilized and should be given a chance to actually have a legitimate run, because I think he could do a lot better if they gave him a chance.
Yeah,
but
he has no heat, but that's okay.
Yeah, but regardless, he came back finally from his injury.
Back.
Very awesome. Glad to see you back, Rowan. Then immediately in the main event, Bray bails on the match and Rowan needs the pin. And it's like, well, we're right back to status quo Wyatt family, where Bray looks like an idiot and his minions are taking the pins for him.
Here's my thing. I understand that the Wyatts the Bray especially, has been booked inconsistently since he was in NXT. Remember in NXT when he was the crazy preacher with the charisma, and he was talking about setting his daddy's shrimp boat on fire and reading the good book? Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember how awesome that was?
That was fantastic.
Remember how there wasn't any supernatural bullshit?
Yeah.
Now we have Bray Wyatt supernatural, and it's garbage.
It really is.
Now, all that being said, I understand that they have booked his character wrong. He's just death in the ring. He's had one good one-on-one match, and it was with Daniel fucking Bryan.
He definitely excels better in tag matches. With his best tag match.
In 4 years, he's had one good one-on-one match.
That
says something.
The tag match that he had last year with Roman Reigns against the League of Nations, fantastic.
Well, with the spear gif.
Yeah, with the spear gif. The best. I mean, all you need to know is
Roman Reigns and the League of Nations.
Bray Wyatt, the firer of human missiles.
Yes, but again, he was with Roman Reigns, who is a top 5 worker,
versus
Sheamus
and Alberto Del Rio.
For all of their sins are good hands.
Yeah. It was a great match.
It was a great match.
And he went on and had great tag matches.
You're right. He's good in tags. He's great in trios. He cannot be counted on to carry a singles match.
Yeah.
A 15-minute singles match with anyone other than AJ Styles at this point is going to be god awful.
Yeah. And this is where I think we're going to start seeing Bray Wyatt entering Cesaro territory of people saying that he's undervalued, underbooked,
I don't think
etc.
people think he's undervalued. I think people realize that he's pretty bad.
I don't know. There are a lot of people who seem to be very high on Bray Wyatt being the champion again and being the face of SmackDown, and they want him to turn face.
We could have had AJ Orton, but no, Shane McMahon had to have his fucking WrestleMania moment. Let that sink in.
We could have also had Orton Wyatt Harper in a triple threat, which would have been awesome.
Orton Wyatt AJ.
We
that could have worked too.
Instead,
we had lots of shit. Instead, we had the fucking projector.
Yeah, instead we had projector.
How does that work in kayfabe? Bray Wyatt's kayfabe power is that he can control a projector. Instead of actual maggots falling from the sky,
it's so weak.
He controls a projector. What? You remember Captain Planet?
Yeah.
Remember how much we bitched about the kid having hearts and what the hell kind of dog shit heart was?
Oh my god,
heart is awesome compared to projector power.
Yeah, really. If you really wanted to, WWE, take notes. If you really want to give somebody supernatural powers, talk to whoever runs the shows that Su Yung is on. Please.
Yes. There's always a spot in wrestling for the wacky shit.
Yeah.
Not all of wrestling needs to be like 2004 Ring of Honor, where it's basically just shoot fights.
Yeah.
Where it's shoot fights with predetermined finishes. There is 100% a spot for wacky hocus pocus.
Yeah.
But at least give me some sort of reason that the character has this wacky hocus pocus power and that he uses it for anything other than being a moron.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking hated this match.
Yeah. This was easily the worst match of the weekend.
This worst match of the year.
Yeah, up to this point, yeah.
When the Observer ballot comes out, this is going to be an easy call for me unless something drastic happens.
Well, Bray Wyatt did just
WrestleMania. That for fuck's sake.
Bray Wyatt did just challenge Randy Orton to a House of Horrors match that we still don't even know what the fuck that is.
That's going to be wrestle crap worthy.
I think this is going to be this year's Asylum match.
God, don't say that. That match was horrible.
Yeah, that's why I think it's going to be this year's Asylum match, because I think it's going to be even worse. I think we're going to have a rehash of the WrestleMania match, but with other shit added in that's going to make it even worse.
Kill me. And I'll be in the crowd there slowly trying to open a vein.
No, I don't. No, that's not. Is that the weekend? No, because which pay-per-view is that weekend?
The Smackdown pay-per-view.
It's Backlash?
No, yeah. The Smackdown pay-per-view is the one in Chicago.
Oh
May 21st.
Shit, man. Well, I'm sorry then.
I'll be texting you, doing anything. I'll be on Tinder or something, doing anything else other than this shit, other than watching that.
Yeah.
Drinking heavily.
Yeah, drink heavily.
If I get 28 minutes of Ambrose Asylum 2.0 with Mitch the Potted Plant, or whatever the hell the Cajun version is, Mitch the Potted Okra Plant, or whatever the fuck it is, I'm gonna be pissed.
A bucket full of maggots.
Yeah, I'm gonna be pissed. We're gonna get a bucket full of I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stand up and just yell.
Mm-hmm.
You'll hear me yelling in the background.
All right.
We're done with this shit.
Oh, we're so done with this. Let's
talk about the best match of the night.
The other giant surprise.
This was so fucking great.
Brock Lesnar versus
the best
Goldberg.
4 minutes in the history of professional wrestling. This was my favorite match on the show. I'm 100% serious. I gave this shit 4.5 stars. I loved this match with all my heart. I saw it again the next night, and I loved it even more. This was fucking perfect.
Let me actually properly give the card announcement of this show. Brock Lesnar, the human kangaroo, versus Bill Goldberg, the human brick wall. Let's call that what it is.
You want out of here's the deal. Not every professional wrestling match needs to be 40 fucking minutes.
It really doesn't.
This is what wrestling is all about. Larger than life forces. Two jacked to the gills dudes going at it, who are two jacked guys who are oozing charisma, and they both are. going at it,
Yeah.
throwing hate, throwing fists.
Mhm.
What more do you want as a wrestling fan?
Yeah.
Like not every because it didn't have a Phoenix Splash. Go fuck yourself. I'm not saying you, but like the
No,
people
I
like it only had 4 moves. So fucking what? They were
Yeah.
4 great moves.
Yeah. Goldberg no selling Suplex City to get up and
Yeah.
spear Lesnar.
Yes.
And then 50-year-old Goldberg spearing Lesnar through the barricade.
Yes.
Holy crap.
So it starts out with 3 Germans right away, and Brock is just pumped. Yeah, Brock Lesnar, and then Goldberg's like, oh, I'm still here, bitches.
And
Spears him out of his damn shoes. Brock rolls to the outside, and Goldberg just exits the ring and starts running and gathering up speed and spears his ass through the barricade.
Yeah.
And then this was so good. I loved this match this was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm 4.5 stars.
Yeah.
And I actually talked out from 5 stars. I was going to give this shit the full 5.
Lesnar kicking out of the jackhammer
until the next morning, and I was like, you know what? That wasn't the full 5, but it was 4.5. This was perfect.
Lesnar
badass.
Lesnar kicking out of the jackhammer was an impressive sight.
Here's the thing with this match: we knew what was going to happen.
Yeah,
we knew there was going to be the spear jackhammer. We knew that Brock was going to win clean, and we all still popped.
Yep.
Because these 2 guys told a great story.
Yeah. They did what they needed to do to make up for the fact that the previous matches had just been utter shit.
This match rocked.
Yeah.
I loved it. You know what? Props to Bill Goldberg. I'm sure you're hurting today. Props to Bill Goldberg for cutting that great Romo on Raw Talk. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I saw.
Where he basically hushed and sunned 20,000 euros and got them on his side by being legit. Who knew? Baby faces that are legit get over. This was great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss you, Bill. I'm gonna miss you, Bill Goldberg, because you are a good dude with a shitload of charisma.
Yeah, let's hope that Brock Lesnar does not eat the beef jerky belt while it is off TV for the next month or so.
I am the smarkiest smart whoever smarked. I love this match.
Yeah. Let's move on to another babyface that is legit with the SmackDown Women's Title 6-pack Challenge won by Naomi, submitting Alexa Bliss in the middle of the ring.
Cool-looking lucha move.
Yep, and then beating Alexa Bliss in a singles match the following night to retain.
You know what? We get into this argument all the time on the site. With Cage site is polluted with Becky stands. Just polluted, it's lousy with Becky Lynch stands.
Wait. You use that term and you used it without offense as with last week. Are you using it with offense this week?
I'm not using. I'm using it as a neutral describer.
Okay.
I will explain what I mean by this in a second.
Okay.
The people who are arguing that Becky Lynch should be pushed at the top of the card over Naomi are flat out wrong. In a vacuum, Becky Lynch is a better wrestler. Okay? In a vacuum. On April 5th, 2017, she is not a better wrestler. She is not a better promo. She is not a better character. She is not a better in-ring worker than Naomi is right now.
Yep.
Naomi busted her chops. She could have rested on her laurels and been just like Cameron. And she said, no, I want to be good at this. She has a smile that lights up the night sky. She has charisma to spare. She's a good worker, which shocked the fuck out of me.
Oh yeah.
Like bringing out the Benadryller on Tuesday night. Like, good God.
Yeah.
There was one match called the glow to sleep.
There was one match a few months ago where she busted out cattle mutilation as a submission.
Yeah, like Bryan Danielson must be just like giving her the greatest hits.
Yeah.
If she wins with small packages, we know the story.
Yeah.
If her finisher becomes the small package, we're on to you, Brian.
Yeah. But he's tutoring her on the side. Stop it.
Becky, this is my thing. I talked about how great that Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks match was last week.
Yeah.
It was an exceptional match. One of my favorite matches. I loved it. Becky Lynch has not had a match that good in 2 years.
Yep.
Becky Lynch had a worse match with Alexa Bliss than Naomi did. Correct?
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss is not a good professional, not a good worker. She's an excellent professional wrestler. I want to differentiate that. She's not a good in-ring worker. Naomi carried her to a better match than Becky Lynch did.
Yeah, and I'm still not
Something-
convinced that Naomi's leg is fully healed. I'm
As
still
am
not
I.
convinced.
I'm not convinced that either. There is something wrong with Becky Lynch. I don't know if it is she's not healthy. I don't know if she's just mentally not there. I don't know if they're putting the matches together wrong. I don't know if it's all three.
Well, is the
She's
likelihood
in a
that
slump. She
well,
needs to fix it. In the
um,
meantime, she needs to be shuffled to the side for a minute, and we need to just feel the glow.
there's a likelihood though that Becky Lynch is headed to Raw, which I think is going to be very helpful for her. I think we're going to see a straight up trade of Becky Lynch for Charlotte,
Okay.
and I
I think
think that
I think we swap Lance and Alexa goes to Raw, which is why she ate the pin here or the submission here.
possibly that's also possible.
Charlotte went out on her back on Raw by making Nia Jax look great.
Yeah.
Alexa went out on her back on SmackDown by making Naomi look great, and the Undertaker went out on his back. Well, not really making Roman Reigns look great, but we'll get there. You like that segue?
Yes, I do. And we go to the main event of WrestleMania, the 23-minute mercy killing of The Undertaker.
You know, this match was pretty bad.
It was 100%.
90% of the reason it was pretty bad was because Undertaker's a broken down, decrepit old man.
Yeah. Let me just take a minute here to channel my inner Gino Morasco.
Sure.
Any of you who are saying that the failed tombstone attempt that Roman did was Roman's fault, shut the fuck up, please. Because let me see you try to deadlift 300 pounds of human body and get it up onto your shoulders so you can pile drive it down.
Here.
Please. Let me see you do it. And then you can talk to me about that.
There are two. If this was a pie chart, I would go like 90% this match sucked because Undertaker was a broken down, decrepit old man.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go 10% this match sucked because Roman Reigns was the wrong opponent for him from a match standpoint. He was the right opponent from a story standpoint. Let me explain what I mean. If you wanted as good as possible match for Undertaker's last match, there were two other people who could have had better matches bell to bell than Roman Reigns did. Those people are AJ Styles and John Cena. Correct?
I don't know about that.
I have no doubt that AJ Styles could pull a better match out of the Undertaker at this stage than Roman Reigns can. I also have no doubt that John Cena can as well. However, because both of those guys have been in big matches, and when shit goes to hell, they know how to call an audible and get something out of it. Roman Reigns does not have that ability because he's never been trained in that ability. I'm not blaming him. He spent his entire life learning to work the WWE style, which is heavily, heavily scripted. When shit goes off the rails like it did with that botched tombstone spot, Roman Reigns does not know what to do, and that is not his fault. I want to be explicitly clear. Whereas if something bad happens in that match, AJ Styles kind of rolls with it, takes a bump, we move on with our lives. However, I don't want you to think that I'm calling for this match to have gone any way other than it did. The story was Roman Reigns needs to be the guy to retire The Undertaker. The fact that the match was subpar is irrelevant. Does all that make sense?
Yes, that does make sense.
That's again, if all you wanted in a vacuum was a better match,
get a different opponent other than the
AJ or Cena. But if what you wanted was the narrative of Roman Reigns, destroyer of The Undertaker, to be Roman Reigns. It has to be. And finally going in with this Roman Reigns push, thank God, it's only 2 years too late.
Do you hear the best promo of Roman Reigns' life on Raw?
Awesome. That's exactly what he needs to do. He needs to say 10 words tops. No more of this bullshit show opening promo on Raw where the guy comes out and talks for 20 fucking minutes.
I love the people who are coming out and saying Roman Reigns needs to act like a heel. He needs to be more of a badass. It's like, what do you want from the guy? He just went out there, mercy killed The Undertaker, and said 5 words to a chorus of boos from the entire stadium and obscenities.
Now here's the deal.
He is the heel. He is a heel already. You've made him a heel.
I need that every week. I don't need that just for that Raw. And you know what? The fact that they went out of their way to tell me that, oh, this is Bizarro land, and they boo who they want to cheer who they want to boo, and we love them anyways. Fuck you. Fuck you and die.
Well, they did that on Smackdown too. The show where they didn't need to do it.
Too,
they didn't need to do it on SmackDown, but they did it.
Treating your audience, yeah, because on SmackDown people cheered for faces. Or babyface who's universally beloved. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I get it. The post-WrestleMania Raw is full of neckbeards and gobbers trying to get themselves over. I have you're 100% right.
Guys who play with beach balls while they were cruiserweights doing springboard Spanish flies in the ring.
Also, your most concentrated dose of your most passionate audience. It's not. These people care about what happened because they're excited. And giving them something to be excited about.
I don't know. I really have to. I will agree that this is the most dedicated audience. Because you will not find a group of people who are more guaranteed to tune into WWE programming because this is just what they do. I don't know if they're necessarily passionate, though. I really don't think that they're necessarily passionate for the product unless the product lines up with their expectations.
I saw this on Twitter. I don't remember where, so I apologize to whoever said this originally. I don't want to. I forget. I'm not trying to say this is not my thought. This is this person's thought.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, if you all put this much care and effort into making an unpredictable, exciting show full of engaging characters we're excited to see beyond their entrances, you'd have 12 Beach Ball Manias a year. And I know post-Mania crowds suck, but those crowds aren't the ones who decide we only get one good Raw a year. You do. I get it. This is your own fault, WWE. You went out of your way to cultivate this crowd by building a 24 special. And then
I will say that's entirely WWE.
Like this?
Yeah, that was dumb. But I don't think that they're necessarily pissed that they're acting like that. Not anymore. And here's the thing. You know, we've heard the argument a million times that, WWE's presentation of Roman Reigns as a babyface is raw, and they should present him as a heel if they want him to get universally cheered, all that stuff. First of all, presenting him as a heel because you want to cheer him, that in and of itself is fucking stupid as hell. Because you don't cheer heels, you boo heels. Get your fucking alignments right.
Every main event top-notch babyface started off as a singles heel.
Yes, that I will agree with. But I also think that we're past the days of WWE caring about whether you follow the boos and cheers for alignments, because really what they care about is investment, because they're getting your money because you're invested in going to the shows, and the people who are rooting for these people, they're buying their merchandise. The people who aren't rooting for these people, they're still buying tickets to the shows to see if there's maybe tonight's the night that they lose. It works. I'll say what I said to, I don't remember who it was I said this to, but I'll say it here. WWE is having their cake and eating it too with Roman Reigns right now. I think I might have said this to you, actually. They're having their cake and eating it too, because they're presenting him in this kind of shades of gray, character with depth. They're having
their cake and eating it too, while less and less people are watching their television show.
They're still making millions and millions of dollars.
The ratings are plummeting. We've discussed this though.
Yeah.
Like the ratings have dropped like 28% or 30% in 3 years.
But they're still holding steady. I mean, over the course of the year, they over the course of last year, since the brand split, they held steady.
Raw held steady. SmackDown improved.
Yeah.
So there isn't a build. So there is a way for them to improve their ratings, and it's to put on compelling television shows.
Yeah.
Raw is not a compelling television show. That it's not Roman Reigns' fault.
Yeah, but they still have also proven that there is a segment of the crowd that's going to tune in no matter what, and they can still rely on these people to be able to get ratings.
There is a floor.
Mm-hmm.
But any casual fans you have are being driven off.
Mm. Well, that I think is less on the storyline elements of WWE and more on the fact that because they've given so much investment into having part-timers be the hook for casual fans. You can't have the part-timers be the hook for the casual fans. You need to give the casual fans something else to latch onto, because the part-timers are going away. Yeah. Undertaker's gone. Goldberg is gone.
Favorite time of year, by the way.
Yeah.
The part-timers are gone.
Yeah, and for the
Remember, this
first
time last year we got AJ Roman.
yeah, and think about this though. This coming year. This is going to be the first year where WWE is entirely without the Undertaker for any reason at all. If he holds to his retirement, and I strongly believe that Mark Calloway is 100% done, because you don't get the Undertaker breaking kayfabe and kissing his wife after a match unless he's 100% done.
I honestly think you never see him again
until the Hall of Fame.
I don't even think you see him in the Hall of Fame.
Really?
I think he is. I think he's done. I don't think you see a. I would be shocked if there is a Shooting with Mark Calloway podcast on Podcast One Network. I would be shocked.
I don't think we'll ever get that. No.
No, I mean, like, well, I would be shocked if there was him at WrestleCon or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, he did do signings at Access.
That's Access. That's a little different though. Like,
but he doesn't do them in character though.
There's never going to be an Undertaker Pro Wrestling Tees store. Like no. I mean, I would be shocked if there's any of that stuff. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I mean, how he has a legend, and it would not surprise me if at the Hall of Fame, I think he's just too committed to the character.
I don't know. I think, given some of the stories that I've seen from him,
before, except for when Paul Bear passed.
But given the stories I've heard about him from when he does do signings, I mean, he tends to not be as, in specifically devoted to character portrayal when he's outside of the ring. So I don't think that it's necessarily outside the realm of possibility that we see Undertaker inducted into the Hall of Fame and we see Mark Calloway making the appearance. I
mean, we've never seen him at a Hall of Fame except for when Paul Bear passed away. He's never been in the crowd with a suit on. Everyone, you know what I mean? He's never done it. Right.
But and that I think is integral to the story of this main event match. I think that this was the somebody on Cage side, it might have been Andrew Swift. I'm not sure. I'm sorry if I'm crediting this to the wrong person, but somebody referred to this as Roman Reigns finally withdrawing Mark Calloway from the Undertaker, finally pulling him out or something like that.
No, he's never. Never say never in professional wrestling. He's never wrestling another match again.
No, he's absolutely is not.
He that I 100%. Maybe we get to show up, choke slam someone, and go like a WrestleMania spot. Like, Austin throws a stunner every now and again.
Yeah.
Maybe we get that.
He's never wrestling a match again, though.
No, there's no.
He's never taking a bump again.
No, nor should he.
Yeah, but this is why I say that we might see him at like the Hall of Fame and stuff like this, because we've never, since the Undertaker's professional career began, we've never seen what it's like to have Mark Calloway outside of the Undertaker. We've never known what that's like. This is the first year where that could potentially be a thing. So there's no way to really predict what he does. It's entirely possible that he shows up for his Hall of Fame induction, because he's going to go into the Hall of Fame. There's no doubt about that. Himself, honestly.
Yeah. He should be a one-man class. The 2018 Hall of Fame should be 1 hour long, and it should just be the Undertaker.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. It should be an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Show a bunch of videos, have a speech, have Vince induct him. And it should just, Andre the Giant was a class in his own when they first started the WWE Hall of Fame. Undertaker should be a class in his own.
Yeah.
He absolutely deserves that.
Either Vince or Kane. Those are the only two people I would expect.
That's it.
That would be all the only people I would accept.
Absolutely.
Well, let's talk about...
real quick about Roman Reigns, and then we'll talk about New Japan.
Well, I was going to say, let's also talk about some of the other debuts that we had.
Oh, yeah. Okay. The Revival, yay.
Yeah. Very good. Yes. Very good debut. We already said fantastic.
My dad was very happy to watch them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these guys are great. I love them. My dad does not watch NXT, as I've discussed.
Mm-hmm.
So they got over.
Yeah.
With wrestling fans who only watch Raw.
Emma's return, also great. Very, very good to see her slide right back into the character that she was playing before, and still be completely on point with it. Kurt Angle as GM of Raw. Perfect choice.
You suck.
suck. You suck.
That was the best.
Kurt
Angle playing confused old man with
That's
promo
not how you
is
spell
so great.
soft.
Yeah, that's I am. That will be fun.
I'm gonna say right now, as soon as he said that's not how you spell soft, I laughed so loud that I probably woke up everybody in my building that was asleep, because that was the best thing I've ever heard him do.
He has really good comedic timing.
Yeah, and I didn't watch when Kurt Angle was in his heyday, when he was still doing matches and stuff. So the "You suck" chant is easily one of the funniest things in all of WWE to me.
He came back from neck surgery the first time in like 2004, and he was like, I miss hearing you guys yell "I suck," and that's why people did it, even though he wasn't a heel. Because it used to just be he was a heel, and then when he lost his hair, it was "You're bald."
Yeah,
and then it became like an affectionate parody.
Yeah. I like the one Kurt Angle match that I've seen and still remember with clarity is John Cena's debut match.
Yes,
and that was the match where he came out to the chance of "You suck," and that was when he first took off the toupee and the headgear and stuff. So, that was, I didn't hear "You're bald" ever, but I did.
You're bald when he lost the hair. He lost the hair versus hair match against Edge, and then he had the hairpiece on, and people kept chanting "You're bald."
Yeah. So I only ever heard "You suck," but I mean, it still is hilarious to me. I love it.
No, it's great.
Hearing that every week on Raw is going to be awesome.
Yes.
Finn Balor back. Don't know why he's tag teaming with Seth Rollins, but whatever. He's back. And I actually am glad,
because that's how Raw ends, with big tag matches.
Yeah, I am glad to have him back. I'm not convinced with what people are saying of Finn should face Brock for the title. If you think that match ends in any way other than Finn in a pool of his own blood and urine, with Brock having his hand raised, I don't think that you know WWE at all.
I'm not the world's biggest Finn Balor fan, to be honest.
I'm not a huge fan of him, but I think he certainly is good to have.
Oh, absolutely.
He's very talented.
He's very talented. That beard does him zero favors, by the way. You go back to the clean shaven look.
Yeah.
That beard is not a good look for him at all.
Yeah. Unless you're gonna have him really go full heel and have them start the Balor Club in earnest on Raw once AJ
gets
traded.
Beard like AJ has works.
Yeah. Then you could have it be the Beard Club. Balor, Styles, Anderson, Gallows. There you go. There's your beard club.
I'm done with beards in general. Like I'm done in society, because 90% of them look like just total complete trash. Like the people who grow a good beard are few and far between.
Yeah.
But Finn is definitely in the latter group.
Yeah, not
as bad as Eric Rowan. Dear Christ, man.
As bad as that
beard and shaved hair looks horrible.
as bad as that is.
Beard and shaved hair. Speaking of beards and shaved heads, Braun Strowman got punked out.
I'm not. No, I actually have to agree with you on this. But I don't attribute that to anything other than Vince for some reason forgetting the value of monster heels and how you properly book them.
Braun was a speed bump for Roman, so Roman could get over and have a heatless terrible match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and now Braun, for some reason, instead of just charging straight at Brock Lesnar and throwing him out of the ring because he is a monster, instead he's backing off and saying, "No, on my time." Yeah. You have Seth Rollins say, "No, on my time." You don't have Braun Strowman say, "No, on my time."
They've been doing that too. They've been doing that way too much with him.
Stupid as hell.
One last point on Roman Reigns, and then we'll move on to New Japan.
Yeah. Well, it was one other debut for SmackDown.
Go. Ty.
Yeah, Ty. Dillinger coming out and punking Kurt Hawkins. Very good.
That's a good mid-card face. Nothing wrong with that.
He'll be a good mid-card face, and he can be certainly
belt mix.
Yeah, he could certainly be used to get over some strong young heels.
Yeah, he's a gatekeeper.
Yeah. If they ever decide that they actually want Apollo Crews to do something, then they turn him heel. You can have him face Ty. Perfect. Perfect way to get Apollo over as a cocky asshole heel.
For finally making it to the main roster.
Yeah. You know, the guy formerly known as Stan, he's back on the main roster after his only stint of getting kicked in the face by Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Right. Roman point, yes.
Everybody's right.
About
attendance and ratings have gone down with Roman on top, and he's not over to the level of his push. But the company still makes a shitload of money. The company still sells out huge stadiums. So it doesn't matter. They've killed everyone else. So Roman Reigns is the guy. So just accept it and move on. Is he the guy? Is he not the guy? You know what? It doesn't matter. This is the avenue they have chosen to go down.
Yep.
Is he the guy? Sure. Is he not the guy? Sure. Does it matter? No. I subscribe to the old Potter Stewart theory, you know, where he talked about pornography, you know when you see it.
Mm-hmm.
I know the guy when I see it, and it's not Roman Reigns. But this is this is what they've chosen to do because they don't want anyone to become a superstar. So they've chosen to kind of just keep the big wheel moving and sell the brand. The brand is what sells nowadays.
Yeah.
So
somebody
everybody's right. Stop bitching about fucking Roman Reigns being the guy or not.
Somebody made a point in the Daily this week that I strongly agree with. I think it was actually on Monday. Vince McMahon is 72 years old, and if you saw him on Raw this week,
he looked every bit of it.
Yeah, he clearly is not long for this world. This is the hill that Vince is dying on, where Roman Reigns is the top of his company, and he's the top babyface. Because as soon as the coroner announces Vince McMahon's time of death, Triple H is going to start planning Roman Reigns' heel turn. Yeah, he's planning Roman Reigns' heel turn. It's gonna a full earnest heel turn. It's gonna happen.
Like the corpse won't be cold.
Yeah,
and he'll be texting Road Dogg. All right, let's do this.
Yeah,
he'll be texting his secretary. Secretary, there is a file. There is in my desk. There is a Manila envelope that says Roman Reigns heel turn. I want you to pull it out and I want you to fax it to Road Dogg. Yeah,
that's why Roman is heading to SmackDown. That's why Roman is heading to SmackDown.
Yeah, I guarantee
because he's got Road Dogg and Ryan Ward.
I guarantee somewhere on his computer or on a piece of paper in his desk at his office in Connecticut, there was a piece of paper that says Roman Reigns heel turn.
Yeah, undoubtedly.
I guarantee it.
But until then,
the old man shuffles off his mortal coil, this is what we're gonna get.
This is the hill that Vince McMahon is dying on.
So I'm not saying you gotta lie back and enjoy it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Boo, cheer, do whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. But just know going in that this is what's happening.
Yeah, and I will say this: props to the old man for still managing to make it work to the point that Roman is the number 2 merch seller in the company, and that is a fact.
He's not over to the level of his push.
No, he's not, but he is still making them shitloads of money. That's verifiably true in market reports. So the fact that he's managed to create a character.
$64,000 question is: would anyone else make them that much money if they were given the opportunity he was? And the answer is we don't know.
No, we don't know.
We'll never know.
Mm-hmm. So the reality to it is that this is a character he has created where, not in addition to making him tons of money, everybody is invested, as I said before. So in that regard, congratulations, excellent booking agent Vince McMahon for having created this character. Now, please go away and let us, have some evolution. Pardon the pun.
But it's a mystery.
Yeah, it is.
Faces that no one sees.
No. Evolution is a mystery.
My apologies. R.I.P. Lemmy.
Yeah. God rest you, buddy.
All right. New Japan.
Yes, Sakura Genesis is happening this weekend. The event.
Give us a rundown, Chris.
The event formerly known as, what is the event formerly known as? I never fucking remember.
Invasion Attack.
Invasion Attack. Yes, the event formerly known as Invasion Attack, now known as Sakura Genesis. The big matches that are on the card. Well, let me just say one thing. There are we have 5 title matches on this card. And only one of them is a match that I am not at all caring about. That being the match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. Because on the one hand, Taichi, fucking terrible human being and fucking terrible wrestler. We don't want him to have the title belts. And Yoshinobu Kanemaru, he's whatever. But Taichi, we don't want him to have the belts. But on the other hand, Jado and Geto are the ones challenging for the belts.
Okay, go on.
Either way, we lose. So, I'm not really all that pleased with this, with the prospect of this, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe they put together a somewhat serviceable match. Probably not, but you never know. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to talk about Kenny Omega for a minute.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I'm starting to think Kenny Omega totally misplayed his hand after the Tokyo Dome with his whole shoot work, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Am I leaving New Japan? Am I not leaving New Japan? I think he made it so obvious that he wants to go to WWE that New Japan won't actually push him this year, so that they lower his potential value to WWE when he takes the plunge. And he had that brief moment when he could have walked into the Rumble as a huge star, but I think that window's also closed. And I don't think he'll get it open again. I think basically, if he wanted to leave after the Tokyo Dome match and debuted at the Rumble, it would have been the perfect moment. But I think he played all this shit wrong, and I don't think he's coming anywhere close to the IWGP belt.
Not for the next.
Why would they put him on the belt if he's been saying he's just only in Japan to win the belt?
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that?
I mean,
leveraging the belt to go to WWE.
Yeah, in this match, he's not even in anywhere near the top of the card.
I think he's a less hot free agent in 2018 than he was in 2017.
Yeah, I mean, in this event, he is in a tag match with Bad Luck Fale against Ishii and Yano.
He's buried in the mid card.
Yeah, and here's the thing, part of me says this hoping that it's true, and the other part of me said this dreading that it's true. But I think that a part of this has to do with his whole, there are no faces, there are no heels promo, that garbage that we talked about a few weeks ago, with him and the Young Bucks, declaring themselves to be the best, and that, alignments don't matter. It only matters what they decide to be the truth is. I think that New Japan probably heard that, and while admitting to themselves, yeah, the crowd eats this up and they really like it, still, though, Kenny Omega maybe having himself a little bit of a ego inflation here and needs to maybe knock down a peg or two.
Yeah, like he totally, if his goal was to go to WWE, he totally played this wrong.
Yeah. If that was his goal, learn some better business sense, Kenny, because you're doing it wrong.
Learn the phrase "strike while the iron's hot," and the iron is not hot.
Yeah. Now,
anyway, that's my Omega speech.
Yeah.
Let's blitz through this top of this card and go from
there. The top of the card is four title matches, which I'm actually excited about all of them. First up, we have a tag team title match, the IWGP Tag Team Championships. Tenkozy versus War Machine, who are coming over from Ring of Honor. I don't know if they're actually going to be full time in New Japan, or if this is just a short. This is just a short stint. This might be a talent share thing, but I'm not sure. But this is their this is Tenkozy's 6th reign with the IWGP Tag Team Championship. Which is, I mean, when you think about the ages of Hiroyoshi Tenzan and Satoshi Kojima, it's not surprising.
Nice job with those pronunciations.
Yeah, I try. But I think this could be an opportunity for them to make a big star, because the crowds were definitely into War Machine during the Honor Rising events. Crowds loved War Machine. Mm-hmm. And this could be a chance for them to make War Machine the stars in New Japan that the Briscoes were not able to become last year. Because the Briscoes showed up in New Japan last year as part of a talent share, had a few pretty good title matches, all against members of the Bullet Club, but the crowds never got into them for whatever reason. I think that War Machine is a team that the crowds are definitely getting into, and
agreed. New
Japan could definitely make some stars out of them.
So who wins? War Machine?
I'm thinking War Machine wins it.
I hope they do.
I hope they do too, because this is a team that is going to definitely could shake up that whole tag team division. I think that this can give opportunities for teams like the Guerrillas of Destiny, Ishii and Yano, GBH once Honma is healthy. This could be opportunity for those guys to really explore some different styles of matches because let's face it, there are no guys like Raymond Rowe and Hanson in New Japan with the exception of Michael Elgin. Michael Elgin and Bad Luck Fale are the only guys.
Bodyguard are not in New Japan, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. There is nobody quite like War Machine, and their look is entirely unique.
100%.
So they're definitely going to shake up that tag team division a lot. Next up, we have the never open weight championship match between Hiroki Goto and Zaki 3 belts, Zack Sabre Jr.
Soon to be Zaki 4 belts, maybe.
Yeah, I'm thinking he wins it. Actually, I think this is because I mean, you don't have a guy show up in his debut match join Suzuki Gun unless you plan to make him a huge deal.
True.
And let's face it, Suzuki Gun, out of the currently 5 stables in New Japan, Suzuki Gun is easily the weakest right now. I mean, Bullet Club is starting to teeter into that territory, but Suzuki Gun is still easily the weakest because, I mean, aside from Suzuki, they really don't have anybody worth mentioning until Zack Sabre Jr. joins them.
Well, you're not a Davey Boy Smith Jr. fan?
They don't show up enough.
I was trying to be sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
Not a Yoshinobu Kanemaru fan? No.
The only other guy in Suzuki Gun other than Suzuki and Zack Sabre that I have any sort of interest in is Desperado. Okay. That's it. I mean, yeah. Other than those guys, Suzuki Gun is just dead weight.
There's one more match I'm interested in. I'm interested in the LIJ versus Tanahashi, Juice, Ricochet, and
Taguchi Japan.
That'll be fun. That'll be a fun match.
Yeah, the newly crowned never open weight 6-man tag matches members of Taguchi Japan.
Yeah.
Fun match. Yeah, for those who were not aware, Tanahashi, Taguchi, and Ricochet recently won the never open weight 6-man tag belts.
We are continuing the Tanahashi Midlife Crisis tour,
which is
love.
Still awesome.
So
of midlife crises to have, Tanahashi easily having the best one of his life.
Yes,
it's the best one.
Yes.
So that'll be fun. But
all right, so Zaki Sabre wins, huh?
I'm betting that Sabre wins and they start pushing him as a big heel. And I think that, like, given Suzuki's age, I think Sabre eventually dethrones Suzuki as the leader of the stable.
And then it becomes Sabre Gun.
Yeah, I would. I think that would be money. Because, I mean, like I said, that stable is a lot of dead weight. I think that with Sabre at the top, I think they possibly have a shakeup of their ranks and get some good bodies in there. Next up, we have the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match between Kushida and Hiruma Takahashi.
Rematch from the Dome, right?
Rematch from the Dome that has been long time coming. That was a 5-star match between the two of them. Excellent match. And this promises to be another excellent match. I mean, I don't think that Takahashi has had bad matches with anybody since he came back.
Yeah,
he came back from CMLL.
Agreed.
He is just
he's on a roll.
If he is not attracted the eye of WWE yet as a cruiserweight, he should, because he's one of the best in the world right now.
And he is, survey says, 27.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that you have to question about him is the fact that he just throws his body around like it's a fucking wet paper bag.
Yeah, so does Jeff Hardy, and he's still going strong.
Yeah, 39. So
some guys are freaks, though. That's true.
Yeah, Takahashi is a star, and Kushida also. I mean, Kushida is also amazing. I mean, and he's 33. I mean, the two of them. I mean, this is a match that should happen so many times. The ticking time bomb versus the time splitter. It's perfect. You really can't ask for better. The only better feud is Takahashi and Dragon Lee, and you know we'll get to that in a little bit when we get to the Best of Super Juniors. But the headliner, Kazuchika Okada versus Katsuyori Shibata.
Finally getting heel Okada
for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
You find it funny that Okada is being presented in much the same way Roman Reigns is?
I've said this about Okada for a year plus now. The disconnect of Okada's character outside the ring versus the person he plays inside the ring, it's worse than Reigns is. It's worse than it is for Roman Reigns. 100%. Because Okada wrestles from underneath easily twice as much as Roman Reigns does.
Yes.
Without doubt. I mean, the only example of that I need to give, go back to New Beginning in Sapporo, Okada versus Suzuki, where Okada was underneath for
Oh my God,
90% of a 45-minute match.
Yeah, he's still getting a knee bar somewhere.
Yeah. And then comes out the next week still fucking Rainmaker with the golden robe. It's like I understand he's your 2 million yen investment. I get it. But come on, guys. Really? You can't present him with a character that is at least to some degree, in line with what he's doing in the ring?
Exactly.
If you're going to have him be this, this pure money guy, have him win his matches in much more convincing fashion.
Agreed. So does he beat Shibata?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I have no for this.
This is honestly one of the most difficult matches to predict that I've seen all year, because Okada desperately needs a break from the belt because it's starting to get stale. But I don't see New Japan as being ready to do that quite yet. Conversely, Shibata desperately needs to get the belt to legitimize himself as being the wrestler, to live up to that title that he has.
Yeah.
But I don't know that New Japan necessarily wants to pull the trigger on a 37-year-old guy who still fights like he's in shoot fights every single time he's in the ring.
I'm telling you, he doesn't know this is a work.
Yeah, he doesn't. He never will.
So let's say Okada wins. Who beats him and when?
If Okada wins, I think what we get to is eventually. I don't know that if it necessarily does happen at Dominion, but we eventually end up Okada Naito again.
Okay.
I think we get back to Okada Naito. If Shibata wins, then things get very interesting, and I'm rooting for Shibata to win this, because the shakeup that would happen with Shibata as the champion is crazy. Because Shibata right now, I mean, with like I said, the formation of Taguchi Japan as an official stable means that we're up to 5 stables in New Japan, and Shibata is probably the only guy on the roster who's not a young lion that is also not affiliated with anybody. Shibata is the only guy that's marching to the beat of his own.
He's the only freelancer.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting prospect of if Shibata wins, because these
champ is above all this stable stuff.
Yeah. Because that's been the defining thing of New Japan for all this time. All right, so the last thing we're going to cover real quick, the 9 entrants for this year's Battle of the Best of the Super Juniors.
Oh yeah.
Were announced, and this is a stacked field. I'm just going to tell you guys right now, this is a stacked Best of Super Juniors 2017.
This is a single elimination tournament, right?
Yes. We're looking at, of the 9 people who were in this, Will Ospreay, Ricochet, Bushi, Dragon Lee, Kushida, Hiromu Takahashi, Ryusuke Taguchi, Tiger Mask IV, and Jushin Thunder Liger.
Good times.
Yeah. That field is going to be amazing. I'm
so good.
I'm really looking forward to all of the prospective matches that will happen from that, because I mean, there's so many intriguing matchups there. I mean, the idea of a Will Ospreay versus Ricochet match again this year.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that already has me in a where are my pants stage.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And it actually is not single elimination. It's actually a round robin tournament with point scoring, kind of like the G1.
Okay.
I actually had to look that up to be clarified. It's another 2-block system. Wins are worth 2 points, draws worth 1, losses worth 0. Every match is
faces off.
Yeah. Every match is a 30-minute time limit. Yeah. So Now the question is who goes into each block. I think that they keep. I think that they keep Hiromu separate from his rivals Kushida and Dragon Lee. And I think that we end up with the finals being Hiromu versus Will Ospreay. I think that's our finals. And I think that I'm gonna make a bold early prediction of Will Ospreay winning this year's Best of Super Juniors and going on to challenge for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship.
I like it.
That is my bold prediction.
I like it. You know what my
for
bold prediction is?
what?
Now that we're talking about it, Shibata wins. Shibata wins,
Okay.
and I don't know what he does afterwards, but he wins. I think Shibata's winning this match.
The
And I think he's dropping it to Naito.
He's winning the Sakura Genesis.
I think he's dropping it to Naito. I think he's dropping it to Naito, and I think the main event of the Tokyo Dome is Okada Naito.
All right. Yeah, this would actually be. Yeah, I'm predicting the reason. I now have to.
Naito is the champ and Okada chasing.
Yeah, I actually have to revise my prediction now though because I'm actually realizing. Will Ospreay won last year's Best of Super Juniors, so I don't think he's actually going to win 2 years in a row. So I actually have to take back my bold prediction because it's a little too bold.
We'll go with it. Yeah, I'm going to say Shibata wins, drops it to Naito. Okada wins the G1, keeps the belt. They meet at the Tokyo Dome.
Huh.
That's my prediction.
Interesting.
That's my prediction.
All right.
See. Why not? Why not go on?
I can't predict that far ahead for that for the heavyweight title scene.
Because I think Omega is nowhere to be found because he fucked up.
Yeah.
So, you got anything else for me?
No. I think that's it. We have no idea what next week's show is going to be about. I'll say that much.
Well, we're going to talk about this pay-per-view. We're going to
we'll talk about Sakura Genesis. Yep.
We'll talk about the NXT tapings. We'll talk about Genesis. We'll talk about we'll start to have an outline as to what WWE is doing on Raw at Payback.
Yeah,
we'll talk about.
Yeah, because next week is the Superstar Shakeup that's supposed to happen.
Maybe we'll talk like Progress or something.
Well, next week they do have the Superstar Shakeup, so we'll definitely have some.
Oh yeah,
some topics to talk about there with people being traded between shows.
Exactly. So, Vince was right. The big wheel keeps on turning.
There is no shortage of content for our podcasts and for all the other podcasts that we have on Cage Side Community. So, yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
That's it for us for tonight. We will be, like I said, 99% sure back to our regular Saturday time next week. And until then, this has been Two Guys One Sport. Remember, don't work yourselves into a shoot. And have a good night, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Everybody, thanks for listening.